are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
Come on, it's Don, bitches. This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That is Evo, and we are back. It is Saturday morning. Nice and early, and Jesus, it has been a busy, busy week in my life for sure. Evo, I believe you as well. We had a lot of new content drop. We had different things going on with the No Sleeves Network. And all that was going on, man. There's sports going on still. So we got some stuff to talk about as it pertains to NCAA basketball, which I know you have a vested interest in, and it's not looking great. Also, we got some Major League Baseball, and there's some controversy in the WNBA still. So, my man, how you doing? Welcome in. And how you feeling on this beautiful Saturday morning?
I'm good, brother. It's nice to have a long weekend here. Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, we remember what Memorial Day is for. But the side bet for it is that, we drinking this weekend. We're having a good time. We're relaxing. Enjoy your family and everything. I hope everyone is having a good Memorial Day weekend so far and enjoys the nice little long weekend off, which hopefully everyone is having. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. I showed you the video. I'm going to pop it up here. I think people in my neighborhood, the kids who just graduated on Thursday, were having a good time last night around 11 o'clock, which is why I didn't get too much good sleep. And I apologize. The audio in this video is not as good as the actual source video, but let's see. Yeah.
Sounds like gunshots.
Yeah, so I had that pop off last night. Another angle here.
The fucking war's down, bro. Oh yeah, that's a good boom there.
Yeah, and it's not quite as loud on the video as it actually was, or on the videos I got from my actual phone. There, it's louder. That motherfucker was loud. It brought me back about 10 years ago where I was like, oh shit, we're the fucking Mexicans rushing the border. Yeah, so that happened at 11 o'clock last night, and I was fucking ready to go afterwards. So I didn't get great sleep last night. But yeah, summer has started, I guess, having fun. But yeah, it's been a good weekend for me so far, enjoying that, getting the backyard all nice and green out here in Arizona, which is abnormal. And yeah, watching fucking basketball and my team. Yeah, we'll get into NBA here in a little bit. It's frustrating, but yeah. So how things been going out there for you, Mike? Youth sports, things like that going on?
Yeah, again, everything has been going really, really well. And I'm like, it's a nice change of pace. Like, we're almost a year removed now from my accident. That obviously put me back a long ways. The kind of the things that we wanted to do back a long ways. The No Sleeves Network was supposed to be probably up and running 6 months ago, was the intent. That was our timeline that you and I had kind of put together. Then the accident kind of ruined that entire timeline because, well, I was down and things were not going great, but I'm feeling much better. I'm getting the body back in shape. Have been dieting, been exercising, not doing the carnivore, but counting calories, keeping my macros in line, down 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks. So that feels very good. Also, shout out producer Amber for helping me with my cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that has been great. Last night we played a baseball game, big time dub, and it was great. So we don't normally play under the lights. We were able to play under the lights last night. Guys that I had on this team last year, they had played under the lights before, but the newer kids who come up from the league below us, they've never played under the lights before. So that can be kind of a big moment. Your first time playing under the lights. Producer Amber thought it would be a great idea. She got walk-up songs for all the kids. We wanted them to have fun and ball out, and they did, to the tune of a 9-run first inning. And we did not stop there. We continued to roll. It was really, really good to see. We were down on players again, so this team has the capability to battle even if they are understaffed, I guess you could say. So, yeah, man, baseball was great. And then obviously, if you guys are following the No Sleeves Network and all that stuff, the movie was released, Duty Calls, that was released yesterday, to what appears to be people enjoying it so far. I haven't had too many negative comments. Obviously,
all right, I'll add one. Fuck you. No.
Yeah, as the person,
keep you humble.
As the person who shot it, I can see the flaws. I know where the flaws are. But you know what? I had fun doing it for the most part. But Jesus Christ, dude, making a movie is so fucking stressful. And that thing was 8 minutes long. Like, being a director is not something I ever want to do. I am not a director. I enjoyed writing that script. I enjoyed editing it because if you watch the credits, Sleeveless Mike is the editor. I didn't want to keep giving the same myself continued credits because it looks like it was only me when there were plenty of people that helped with this project. But yeah, directing, I do not like it. It fucking sucks. It's like being back in the Army again. And I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't want to be Sergeant Carlisle ever again. I don't want to be Mike. But it was a lot of fun seeing the way people have reacted. Everybody who has watched it, I appreciate it. If you haven't, please go check it out on the No Sleeves Network YouTube. And then there's also an additional piece of content I believe producer Amber is working on right now for the No Sleep Network. We're going to try to get a little series going. I don't know how much grass you have in the backyard, but lawn care karaoke is something that I kind of came up with. Part of this whole getting in shape thing was just being more active in general. And I'm not a lawn guy. I fucking hate mowing my grass. We have talked about this on, I believe it was the talk, that I fucking hate mowing the grass. Well, I've kind of started to get into a rhythm, started to find things that make it more fun for me. So, jamming with some headphones and singing, belting out songs has been great. So there'll be a new piece of content, hopefully up fairly shortly. Lawn care karaoke. It's going to be me mowing the grass with some singing. Don't worry, you're not going to have to listen to me sing the entire time because I actually know how to edit some video now. And you'll actually get to enjoy some music while you watch me act like, kind of that old school dad rocking the white shoes while he's mowing the grass.
I mean, yesterday I was out there mowing and got the first good mow of the year as grass is starting to get green instead of being the kind of dormant stuff. But I was rocking some Billy Squier yesterday. Now the real question is, are we going to be able to really play that audio?
You cannot play that audio on the YouTube. So it's going to be mostly TikTok, and I think you might be able to go get it on Reels. Instagram, I'm sorry, YouTube will absolutely hit us with a copyright strike for the music that is used.
That's normally because this is what I'm working with back here, minus the pool, no pool back there. But I definitely like to go back there. It's relatively secluded, and I like to get shirtless, oiled up, and rock my tunes. So, all right, some yard care karaoke. Okay.
Lawn care. Karaoke.
Oh, lawn care. Oh, fuck me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. We'll allow it this time.
And then as far as duty calls, congrats on doing that as well. I understand where you're coming from with the directorial stuff. Not that I've done that, but obviously group projects can be difficult if you're not working with a team. Not to say that your team wasn't good either.
Team was great. Team was great, but I'm not a director.
It's way nicer for me when I feel like I'm doing a solo project. And I'm not having to rely on other people as much because it can become somewhat more frustrating. But well done. And Hannah said that she's willing to be in duty calls too, but she wants to shoot actual guns. So,
Deal.
And
listen, duty calls can absolutely get a sequel.
If there's a gratuitous sex scene, I'll put my body on the line for it.
Good to know. Absolutely good to know. Duty call. I have not written another script yet. I have one in the chamber. But this is that script it's not a comedy. It is a drama. It's very, very intense. Not something that I feel like I'm ready to take on and shoot yet, because that's a project that I feel like is going to need much more of a understanding from a director on how this needs to be done. Like, I can write it. I can kind of give my feed in like how I'm seeing things. But I need somebody who is actually a director to take control of that project, because that one means a lot to me. I don't want to screw that one up.
That wouldn't be a branch off of Duty Calls, then, I'm guessing.
That would not be. Absolutely would not be
at all.
You'd
be taking the old school's Raimi Evil Dead route there, where it's like, oh, we made a super low budget horror film and it was so bad that it was funny, so we remade it a second time as a comedy horror. Yeah, this would be like comedy to drama, just completely jumping genres.
Doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah, I get it. All right, cool. Well, as much as it's nice to talk about this cool shit, this is a sports program.
Yes, it is. It is a sports program.
We might as well jump into that.
All right, let's do it. Where do you want to go? Because I imagine we'll talk NBA at some point, but do you really want to start there?
Yeah, we might as well pull off the Band-Aid. So first of all, we got the Eastern and Western Finals going on. The Pacers had game 1 on lock. If anyone was watching that, which I pulled it up there for like the last 5 minutes, they had the game on lock and completely fumbled the bag. Just terrible turnovers at the end allowed the Celtics to get in, shoot a late 3 in the final seconds to tie the game up and take them into overtime. And at that point, I was like, the Pacers deserve to lose this whole series. They were in Boston. They had the game locked up and completely fumbled the bag. I think it was a foregone conclusion that the Celtics were probably going to win the East.
They're the most dominant team basically all year, especially out in the East.
But the way that the Pacers have been playing in the playoffs and that first game, I was like, hey, this could be a good series. And then they blew it. So I fully expect the Celtics to make it. But then my focus has definitely been on the West with the Timberwolves versus the Mavericks, and the first 2 games in Minneapolis. All I can say is that the Wolves look like the better team, and they look like they just don't give a fuck. For all the talk, and I'm the biggest Anthony Edwards fan out there. I do think that he's the second coming potentially. And
he's very good. He's a superstar in this league.
And you saw in the Nuggets series, especially around game 4 or 5, where the Nuggets were able to shut him down through double and triple teams. And we had to make things work with other guys. And we have some of the guys to do that, but they just weren't executing as much as they should. We still ended up winning that series through some spectacular play there in game 6 and game 7. What's happening now is not the same. He is not performing like he should. You're seeing him drive the paint and get up to the basket, and he's being so selfless in passing the ball out to guys to take threes and stuff like that, that he does not seem in rhythm at all. The aggressiveness, he's losing it, and it's starting to affect his ability to make baskets, it feels like. And the fact that we're up by like 21 points yesterday and allowed the Mavericks to just kind of, nickel and dime away to get back ahead, it was super frustrating. I mean, game 1, I thought the officiating wasn't great. It's not offensive goaltending, but I can't think of the fucking name of what it is. It's basically a cat dunked the ball on a missed shot afterwards, and they called it off. There's some weird rule that I got an explanation of.
Yeah. I don't know. I forget what the rules called.
The worst fucking rule in basketball, because if any part of the ball is within that cylinder, it is expected to have a potential of going in. There was like the slightest sliver, maybe, of the ball being in that cylinder, and they called the shot off that would have put the Wolves ahead. It's such a bullshit call. And every other news outlet that I've watched, sports media outlet, has basically scolded the NBA for this rule, saying, why the fuck is it even in there? There's no point. We understand defensive side, but that was offensive. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. That pissed me off. But either way, the Wolves did not look good in that game, and they looked okay at points yesterday in their loss to the Mavericks, and they're down 0-2 now, losing both games in Minneapolis. And it just, things are not clicking. I don't know if it's just they're tired or what. I think the biggest thing for me, though, is Anthony Edwards. He is not being as aggressive as he should be. Like, he is going in, driving the paint, has shots, and he's passing them away, and he needs to take these. We need to take those points. Like, look, Naz Reid has been phenomenal. He's, making basically every fucking three that he shoots, and I love that. But it got to the point yesterday, like, we took Towns out because Kyle Anderson was just shooting the ball better and stuff like that. It's weird how the team is operating right now. They need to figure this shit out, because I truly, truly feel like we are the better team here versus the Mavericks. Like, yes, it seems like anytime you get the ball in Luka's hands, he is going to put it in the like, you can't stop him on threes, which is insane. Kyrie did not look good this last game, but game one.
Yeah, but Kyrie is a stud. And I was going to bring that up to you. Like, so Anthony Edwards is obviously a superstar in this league. He is a stud. He's going to be that guy. But there is something to be said about the experience playing at this level in the conference championship. Now, Luka, this is his first time there, but Luka has been on a big stage in another country, for another country. Like, he has played high-level basketball that means a lot in other places. Anthony Edwards, this is the first time that he's, like, really entrenched in how important, like, the stakes that are going on with these conference finals. So I think it speaks to just the maturity level. Anthony Edwards will be an absolute superstar, but we saw this early in LeBron's career, and I do not want to make the LeBron to Anthony Edwards comparison, but like, LeBron struggled at times early in his career in the playoffs to truly elevate when it was early in his career. Then LeBron went on and did LeBron things, but like, just did not have, it seemed like, that clutch gene. For forever, it was talked about LeBron didn't have that clutch gene. It comes with experience, and Anthony Edwards isn't quite there yet, whereas Kyrie Irving makes the biggest shot in the history of the Cleveland Cavaliers organization after LeBron makes the block. Like, we don't win that title without Kyrie. So he knows what it is to compete and execute at this high stakes level. So it's going to be tough for you guys, especially after dropping this last game, to crawl back into the series to compete, because up 21 and you lose it, that is demoralizing to a pretty young squad.
Yeah, and that's, I feel like Ant has the clutch gene, except for he's not, I don't know if it's the coaching or what, but he is not having the killer mentality right now. Like, you look at Kobe, you look at MJ in previous playoffs, things like that. Those guys take over. They absolutely take over. And there's times when you see that in Ant, and instead of completely taking over, he passes it. Like,
I think it will come. It's gonna take a little bit of time. This is what, his third year in the league?
Yeah. And look, with them having their backs against the wall right now, and him having two relatively dismal games, I'm hoping that kind of ignites that fire in him to be like, I'm fucking done. I'm not losing this. And kind of takes over. Now, we saw Denver go from being down 0-2 to actually being ahead in the series versus us in the last series. And I'm hoping that we have that same sort of passion, that same sort of fire and energy going into Dallas, and that we're able to make this a truly competitive series, take it to game 7 if necessary. And hopefully we still have a chance to win this thing, because I would really love to see us in the finals versus the Celtics. But the style of play that we've had the past 2 games, and they've both been very close games down to the wire. That sort of play just isn't going to cut it. We're not seeing 100% out of our guys right now, and they've got to turn it on. Otherwise, I still feel like we are a player away from being truly, truly dominant. But yeah, man, it's been really disappointing. Like, we're seeing some sloppy things and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, and I gotta ask, how do you feel? Because I know you're more of the act like you've been there before kind of guy, workman type mentality, and you don't necessarily do the shit talking. Whereas I'm a little bit on the other side. Like, I'll let a motherfucker know. How did you feel seeing Luka say what he said to Gobert? I don't know if you caught this, but he's like, hey, calls him motherfucker. You can't fucking guard me after he hits that dagger 3. As a sports fan, how do you feel about that? And obviously, I know how you feel as a Timberwolves fan. You probably don't love
that. I'm not a big Gobert fan, to be completely honest. Yeah. Look, yes, defensive player of the year and stuff like that. And there's arguments, should he have gotten it this year or not? I understand that. He has not looked like the defensive player of the year in these playoffs. I'll tell you that. And there was a strategic choice to put him on Luka that I did not agree with there at the end of the game. They had switched him off onto Luka. That final drive in the one before, I don't necessarily agree with it. They were trying something different. Maybe we were getting a little bit too cute, but I don't know that Gobert can utilize Luka getting in his face and yelling that shit at him. It doesn't seem like he has that sort of fire in him to fucking take advantage of it, which is kind of sad. So you
got a problem with Luka doing it.
I don't know that I do necessarily. I get it from Luka's side.
Yeah.
It's the same way
defensive player of the year gets switched on to you in the conference finals, and you do that, you're gonna let him know, right?
Well, Gobert's defensive player of the year for playing in the paint, not for guarding a 3 on a more athletic player. So, it's I get it to an extent, but it's kind of like you're talking to a guy who's out of his element as well. I would really like to see our team have a different mentality. Like, it just does not seem like, it seems like they're playing this like it's the regular season still. Like, oh, we still got another game. It's like, no, you need to feel like your backs are against the wall. Like, this is it. And start playing like that. That upsets me. And look, I do like the Barry Sanders-esque, you run in and get the touchdown and just hand the ball to the ref, kind of we've been here before mentality. But it doesn't mean that I don't like the moxie and the shit talking a little bit. Like Anthony Edwards, he is a character for sure.
Oh yeah, dude, he'll talk for sure.
I love his moxie. Bring your ass. That's what really pisses me off about this whole thing is at game 7, when Anthony Edwards goes to Chuck and says, bring your ass, the state of Minnesota took that shit over. It became the slogan for Minnesota. And guess what? The Mavs brought their ass and they handed it to us. And now that slogan seems like dog shit. I fucking hate it. We could have had a great thing and you ruined it because we played like shit the past 2 games. If we win the series, bring your ass will probably stay. But as of right now, that shit's out the fucking window. I had so many good memes ready to go, and I'm pissed. Yeah, it's upsetting. I really, really hope that we can turn it around and show some passion, some fire. That being said, this is a very young team. This is a team that's kind of exceeded some expectations. I still feel, again, like we're a player away from being very, very dominant.
You should trade Gobert to go get him.
Well, I don't know that we'll trade Gobert, but there's a Cavs player that keeps getting floated around.
Fuck no, Donovan Mitchell is staying here, dude. What? He is staying in Cleveland. Now, other pieces around him might get moved. Darius Garland could possibly be an option for you guys. Then he might be on the block. I know Jarrett Allen will be on the block. You guys do not need another big, though. You guys probably need to get less bigs.
Yeah, I think we have enough. Between Gobert, Towns, Naz Reid, it feels pretty good with that trio. But we need someone else to go along with Ant. I mean, Conley, I love Conley. I know Conley played, with you with the Cavs, I believe, for a little while. He's an awesome player. I love having him there. He is 36 years old. I think we need another asset.
Conley?
Yeah.
Grizzlies, I believe.
I thought
they
said that he had.
And then if he was recently with us, I don't know.
I don't know if it was recently. I thought I had seen something that he had, because they talk about him being in a mentorship role, that he had been a mentor to LeBron or something like that at some point.
So Mike Conley went to Ohio State.
Hmm.
And if he's 36, him and LeBron are right around that same age, I think, or 37, somewhere right in there. So
I don't know. And look, I don't know. He was drafted by the Grizzlies for sure. Grizzlies, Jazz, and now Timberwolves. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
It's got to be an Ohio connection because Mike Conley went to Ohio State. LeBron, obviously, from Akron. If he would have gone to college, Ohio State would have been the choice. He said that multiple times. So maybe there's a relationship there.
Either way, like I love Conley. And I think he's good for us this year. Going forward, maybe not as much just because of the age and stuff like that, but
he's a good guy to bring off the bench who can run an offense. He's a great point guard for that. That's exactly what he will be probably for the rest of his career. But you probably need a guy who has the ability to score a little bit more. Not necessarily a ball dominant guy because you want the ball in Ant's hands, but somebody who can help speed up the offense, make a couple of shots. Darius Garland could actually be a fairly nice fit for you guys.
That's the thing is I feel like, again, another one of those offensive style shooters. Like, I love our bench. I feel like we got a fantastic bench between Kyle Anderson and like Jaden McDaniels is good, but he still feels like that fringe. He's starting right now, but he still feels like a fringe starter to bench player. Anthony Walker off the bench feels great. But none of those guys are stepping up to truly. I mean, I'll take a step back. McDaniels, not this last game, but the two previous, absolutely was fucking lighting it up. And then, yesterday just was not there, not a part of it. And I think that's a big reason why, we took this L as well. But it just feels like we need another established, like, good shooter to really round things out. That being said, I still think that this team is good enough to go into the finals and win the finals if they were to make it there this year. They just got to play fucking better. We got to play better than we had the past two games. So either way, I will continue rooting for this team and watching as we go along. It's nice to be invested in basketball again, which I haven't been with the Timberwolves for basically 20 years since it was, Kevin Garnett, Latrell Sprewell, Anthony Peeler, like this really fucking good squad that we had that actually made it to the Western Conference Finals back then. So.
All right. You got a tough hill to climb, man. That Mavs team is good. And if Kyrie plays like he did in game one, I don't think you guys got a shot, man. Kyrie is one of the most gifted point guards to ever fucking play. I am the way he separated here in Cleveland sucked. Like, it was bad. It was a bad breakup. But, like, we don't have a championship without it. Plain and simple. So I'm happy to see Kyrie's kind of getting back where he belongs because he's a fucking stud. All right, man. Let's make a transition here. Let's talk a little Major League Baseball real quick because my Guardians, listen, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk about how good this fucking team is for a minute because, dude, I don't know where they came from. I don't know how we found all this pop. Oh, wait, yes, I do. They just got older. This team hits home runs now. This team that constantly makes really good contact, plays excellent defense, good enough pitching, great bullpen. They have found some pop. This team is going to be so fucking fun to watch all year. We still have guys that are not even up here. We have a Chase DeLauder down in AAA, who I think could be an impact bat for us up at the major league level. Manzardo, who we brought up from AAA, is starting to get hot, which has been fantastic. this team is 34-17. Like, that's fantastic right now. 7-game win streak, and you guys do not look like you're going to stick around for very long. You guys are up and down, floundering, and for all the cool things that are happening for this Kansas City Royals team right now, I would be hard pressed to see them making it through the entire year. The Guardians look like they're probably going to run away with this thing, as long as injuries do not cause too much havoc, because this is baseball. 162 games, dudes are going to get beat up. But the Guardians are absolute fucking fire right now. We are the third best team in all of baseball. The Yankees, who are also on a bit of a heater as well, are a game better than us. And then the Phillies are also
2 games ahead of you guys.
Yeah, 2 wins, which I think equates to 1 game, because we haven't played. We played 2 less games.
Yeah.
So, but we're right there. We're in the thick of this thing. We're better than the motherfucking Dodgers are, and they spent more money on Shohei. I should take that back, because they're only paying Shohei like $2 million this year. Our entire squad is probably making less than Mike Trout. Pretty close to that right now. So I'm pumped for this Guardians team, dude. They're so young. Much like your basketball team has a super young core and could get better, this fucking Guardians squad is right there.
Yeah, that's my Twins are definitely glass cannon. It's boom or bust, man. And that's probably going to equate to close to a 500 end of season win-loss record. I mean, right now, we're ahead, and there's some fun things with that. But yeah, I don't expect them to hang long term unless they start to figure out how to just be more boom. But your Guardians are on that 7-game tear. I mean, the Royals are, like you said, also having a bit of a flash right now, 7-game streak, and they're penis, excuse me, a game and a half behind you. But we'll see if it's sustainable. Like we saw this a little bit last year with the Guardians as well. I think what you guys have is definitely a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah, I think we're definitely at that sustainable point now, and with the potential to continue to add. Now, there is an interesting question here that it's been posed on ESPN. I've seen a couple people talk about this on Twitter as well. So we're going to talk about that Dodger squad and Shohei Ohtani. Is Shohei Ohtani too good of a hitter to be a pitcher? This is interesting because if you look at what Shohei is doing, he is otherworldly, dude. He's hitting 340 right now as a full-time hitter. And we know the pop is obviously there. He is going to have plenty of home runs throughout the season. He's not at the league lead right now. Currently 13 home runs, 4 behind the leader in Kyle Tucker. But the pop is going to get there. Shohei's going to hit bombs, especially when it gets warm. The ball flies out of the park. Is it worth risking his health on the mound for how good of a hitter he is? Because you get a guy who can produce these numbers year in, year out. He might be almost worth that massive contract that he got without the pitching. Where are you at on that?
I mean, I get both sides of the argument. You've got to utilize your players as best you can to win. That's a really talented squad out there, and I think you can get away without having to have him pitch as much. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's you don't.
When you look at him pitch too, man, it's hard to take a guy who could be an ace off the mound.
Right.
But at some point, if one is causing a detriment to the other, which one do you think is more valuable? Like, you have to pick one, right? Do you think, or do you want the jack of all trades, who gives you a little bit of both?
Without knowing,
Shohei's given plenty of both, not a little bit.
Without knowing their roster in and out and their pitching rotation specifically, I don't have a good answer for that. I think you have to find your weakest spot and let him run with that. That would be like my default. But at the end of the day, you just got to score more runs than the other team. And if he's going to allow you to do that, then you kind of have to lean that route. Yeah. It's a tough situation because I think on a lesser team, it's not as much of a question. Like you just utilize him wherever you need him, whenever you need him, type situation. Then again, look, if he's pitching, you're only losing him once every six starts, right?
Every 5 days. Once every 5 days. Or you can have that bat in the lineup every single day. I take the bat, honestly. Now, pitchers typically get more money in their contracts, and I think part of the contract that he got was to do both, obviously. But if it came down to it, and he's going to be Tommy John after Tommy John, or he tweaks an oblique off the mound, it would be really tough for me to be like, yeah, Shohei, we're going to keep pitching you. Like, I mean, you're just going to be a hitter now.
Other than the injury last year, though, we don't have that sort of injury history with him, do we?
So he early in his career, he's had some injuries early in the career, and obviously now the Tommy John.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, you have to, if you're using him to pitch and hit, there's going to be extra wear and tear. You're going to have to give him more time off to rest and recover and stuff like that, especially as he gets older into his career.
And then you got to take him out of the lineup more.
Yeah.
Yeah, this comment here
it's a tough one.
From Mike A. Went to a Dodgers stadium last weekend on a team full of studs. Everyone filmed when Shohei was at bat. Yeah, that's the Shohei effect. It doesn't matter. Like, and that team is full of studs. Mookie Betts. Who did their first baseman? I just forgot his name. From the Braves. Freddie Freeman. Like, there we go. There's a bunch of dudes on that team who are MVP caliber players, and people want to see Shohei. Like, at any moment, he could hit a bomb. And from, like, just watching the game on TV, when he hits the ball, it fucking sounds different. It sounds like a goddamn shotgun went off. And you can go sit. We were at a Guardians game, this last week. Home run, it's a louder pop. There's going to be more sound. There's more contact. But, like, the ball on TV that I'm not even there to listen to sounds like it is exploding off the bat way more than it is when I'm sitting right there at a fucking pro game and I watch a home run happen. It's different coming off his bat. I don't know why, but he's insane to watch. I would want that bat in the lineup every single day. If it meant that he had to pitch less or not at all, it would be impossible. It would be impossible for me as his manager to not have him in the lineup.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is that it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. It's a tough one. At this point in his career, I don't know that it's as much of a question. As we get a little bit further on, definitely will be more of a problem. And you bring this up again. You have so many games in a baseball season.
162, man.
You can adjust early season play to mid-season play, late season, things like that. And that's probably more where the question needs to come into play is keeping him healthy for the long term, when you do inevitably get to the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Well, but I got nothing else on Major League Baseball. Unless you want to listen to me jerk my dick to the Guardians some more.
No. That can be the sideshow Lineman Lounge baseball corner with Mike, and we'll just let you go on your own and run there.
Yeah. All right. Where are we going to now? We're going to talk NCAA?
Yeah, I think that's probably about the last thing because it's look, we're already 40 minutes in. This is still going to be a shorter show than in general. But there's not. Look, it is quiet time right now in the NFL. We do have
So
OTAs and stuff going on, but you can only take things that you hear from there with a grain of salt, if you will. That being said, we do have some NCAA news, all regarding money, essentially.
all of it, because that's what the NCAA cares about, is the money.
And Mike and I came into this talking about two different money things, thinking that we might be talking about the same thing.
Right,
One having to revolve around college football, the NCAA football game that's coming out here very shortly, which I know you're going to be playing a lot of. I've definitely got to get my hands on it and play some of it. Mine coming around the payment of players, both now going forward in the future and some in the past, I believe. And I'm going to read this straight from the NPR article to make sure that we're getting this correct here. On Thursday, the NCAA and the so-called Power 5 athletic conferences reached a groundbreaking agreement that seeks to end the century-old tradition of amateurism in college sports by allowing athletes to receive pay directly from the colleges and universities that they play for. The agreement, which is part of a class action lawsuit known as House versus NCAA, must be approved by a federal judge overseeing the case in a decision that could be months away. The proposed settlement has two parts. First, it would distribute some of the $2.75 billion to athletes who competed before July 2021, which is when the NCAA first allowed athletes to earn money from their name, image, and likeness rights. Second, it would create a future revenue sharing model in which schools could each distribute around $20 million per year directly to athletes, which is something that we've talked about for a long time. These guys, while yes, they are going to college, they are getting scholarships to play for these schools and having their education paid for. They are the amount of revenue that they are bringing to their colleges and their schools far outweighs what they are earning in scholarships. And so, we were happy seeing NIL come into the league to an extent. It creates a very different landscape for transfer portal stuff and things like that. And
this also will change all of those prior things.
Right. It's gonna incentivize players to go to very specific schools and conferences and things like that, which will start to create even more of a delta, I think, between the smaller schools and the bigger schools. But at the end of the day, your top premier athletes are going to be earning, and that is a good thing overall for the players. It feels way less like it feels less like slavery at this point in making these players kind of have one major barrier to entry into professional sports, and they have to go to these colleges and play, especially when it comes to football.
So not slavery. I wouldn't call it slavery. I've always called it indentured servitude.
That was the other term, but I was going for a bit of a banger there. Yeah. In short,
that's what it was, right? Like, hey, we'll give you this if you work for us, with the promise that maybe that you can do this.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's like indentured servitude, like to the definition.
Yep. Now, further in this article, it says, in short, the future-looking part of the proposed agreement creates a system in which schools that are part of the Power 5 conferences, the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and the SEC, all of which voted to approve the proposed settlement, can pay athletes. Each school will be allowed to distribute up to around $20 million to its athletes, an amount based on a percentage of the average revenue earned annually by the Power Conference programs. That percentage begins at 22% and could go up over time. It is expected that other schools, those outside of the Power 5 conferences, will be able to opt in. This landmark settlement will bring college sports into the 21st century, with college athletes finally being able to receive a fair share of the billions of dollars of revenue that they generate for their schools, the plaintiff's attorney, Steve Berman, said in a statement. The other thing,
are they employees?
I don't know that it counts that yet. I don't know.
Because that is where the sticking point for me is going to be. It's where it's always been. Now, obviously, you can lose your scholarship, right? We've heard plenty of stories now about every year to year you're on a scholarship. You can be cut, you can be thrown off the team for whatever reason. But as soon as you become an employee, the rules change drastically. So that will, football players do not want to be employees. No athlete wants to be an employee of the college. What they want to do is generate revenue off of their work, which is like you want to be an independent contractor. You don't want to be specifically employed by that college. Trust me, that's not what they want. Hopefully, it won't be that way where they are like employees of the college. But this is great. Kids should, like, when they are generating this amount of revenue, it is insane to be like, oh yeah, you're $100,000 over the 4 years or whatever the fuck it is. That should do it, right?
Yeah.
These guys are generating $100,000 over one season, if not more than that, depending on where they're playing.
For sure. Absolutely. The one thing that I can't verify or can't really find as of right now, but I believe that I saw while I was at the gym yesterday, watching this on one of the TVs and trying to read the sub captions. I believe that this agreement will allow them to back pay players from that $2.7 billion that they're talking about, back pay players up to like 2016. Which means that some players who maybe now are no longer professional athletes, they've gone on to different careers, they actually might be seeing some money from this. Now, $2.7 billion, and we're talking about, 8 years roughly in the past and hundreds and thousands of players, that could be a relatively small amount of money, but something is better than nothing, and it's a good thing overall. One of the other questions that was brought up was this is will women athletes be paid equally with men? So the article here says that the proposed settlement marks a new frontier for Title IX, the cornerstone of civil rights law that prohibits sex-based discrimination at educational institutions that receive funding from the federal government. Title IX's legacy in college sports has been massive, as schools are required to pay out scholarships in equal proportion to women as they do men. Now schools will have to determine whether and how the law applies to revenue payments to athletes. It will likely
so now this is going to get sticky, because if it's revenue based and you're all independent contractors and based on your revenue, you can get this. But if they're all employees of the college, should get the same, because then you can't discriminate based on what sex it is. There's a lot of things that they've not figured out on how all of this is going to work, and they need to, because that will drastically change, because some women's programs do great and some of them don't, which is tough. And we'll talk about it a little bit more when I pull up the tier list on how these colleges are being paid for NCAA football. But not everybody is the same. Not everybody's the same tier. And if they're employed by the college, though, they would have to be. So that's going to be a really big sticking point.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be left up to litigation. The answer here is there's no real set final answer on how Title IX is going to apply here. I think that some schools will assume that Title IX is going to make them give 50% of that $20 million or so to female athletes and 50% to the male athletes. Other schools won't make that assumption, and that is then going to obviously carry into litigation, probably, and more lawsuits and whatnot.
For sure.
Yeah. So also the question of, does this make the NCAA and its antitrust issues and the lawsuits that they have, is this going to kind of make them go away? And the answer, according to experts, is no. Yeah. So big news there with NCAA college sports players getting paid. It sounds like, we are still, again, months away from a judge finalizing this, but everything is pointing in the direction that this is going to happen. And this is overall a good thing for athletes in college sports. I mean, I'm sure that the schools are upset and now they're not going to get some new science wings and things like that, maybe, but it is good for the sports players because they are truly bringing in incredible amounts of money to these schools, and it's right for them to get their cut.
Yeah. And that's not the only place that they're going to get their cut anymore. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's see here. So the way this is going to work, NCAA football is coming out. EA Sports is paying colleges for college football 25 based on their tier system using AP poll finishes from the last 10 years. So they're going to average them out. And then they have been broken down into tiers. Let's see here. Can we see that? There we go. So, Tier 1 schools will be paid $99,875.16. Tier 2.
We'll just call it 100.
Yeah, call it 159. So we'll call it 60 for Tier 2.
40 and
40
10.
and 10 for the different tiers, right?
Yep.
So Tier 1 schools, the guys you would expect, your big schools, your Alabama, your Ohio States, Clemson's, Michigan's, okay? Tier 2, USC's, your Florida States. So they're not going to get as much money. Your Texas's. Does this affect recruiting? Possibly on how much money your school could be paid out. Tier 3, and then you got a bunch of Tier 4s, okay? Which is probably Tier 4s, that group, that's the group that everybody's going to pick when NCAA 25 comes out to try to build up into a national powerhouse. That's typically the way it works.
Not you.
Well, I love doing that actually. Like
You're just not going to run with Ohio State?
If I play online and I'm playing other people, I'm going to play with my team. I'm going to play with Ohio State. But if I'm playing just single player mode and I'm going to build a dynasty,
you're going with Old Dominion, baby.
Yeah, I'm taking one of these fucking slack schools down here. I don't even know what this one is, this KS at the bottom. But that might be
where? Which row in this bottom?
Bottom right. So next to Illinois.
Oh. KSSK. Oh. Not a fucking clue.
Me either. I have never seen that school. But I might take those guys to the national championship after a few years. Recruit like a madman. But yeah, so the tiers of which these schools are going to be paid is not the same, which is also interesting to me on how this is going to work based on some of the information that we just received. Are they just getting a payout from college football? Are they getting it? Is this payout coming from EA? Is this payout coming from the school that EA distributes to them? This entire process of how we're paying these people has not been worked out very well, at least not to the general public. We don't necessarily know who's doing what and how it's working. I'm sure
my question here is, do you think that the school is just receiving this money and then is it distributed to the players whatsoever?
So this should be this is paying colleges. So it might not even be distributed to the player.
Yeah.
But how would the players get? Why are they signing off on their name, image, and likeness going in if they're not receiving some sort of residual from it?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, if there's a separate pot of money that is going to the players individually. Because I think I had seen something where the players are getting paid like minuscule amounts, like maybe like $25 type thing to have their NIL, in the game. And it's like, take it or leave it. But the schools themselves also, like, they have their own name, image, likeness as well. So this could be the payout for the schools. And then if the school does anything other than just pocket it, which that's chump change to these schools, that's absolutely nothing. I don't know why you wouldn't just go ahead and pass that on to the players. Though when you're talking about for those tier 4, $10,000, the fuck is that going to do? Buy me a Happy Meal? If I'm a player.
If you get like, that split between 75 scholarship players,
yeah. Not a lot. It's better than nothing. Again, it's better than nothing, but it's not a ton. There's a lot of questions with this, like how is it taxed and all that sort of shit. But at the end of the day, it's a good thing for college sports for the money to be filtering back down, as long as it does make it to the player. In this instance, we don't really know, but it does bring up that good point of like they're not everyone is equal. Obviously that KS University, whatever that is, or we'll just say another one of those in tier 4, Hawaii. It makes sense.
Kennesaw State,
maybe, but it makes sense that Hawaii doesn't make as much as an Ohio State because they're not the same market. It's not the same market.
Yeah, interesting. But money's always been a part of the NCAA. Now they're just being able to do it legally. Much to the chagrin of the NCAA, because now they're not getting all of the other money. So, but yeah, shit's gonna get wild, and I'm excited. I'm just ready for a new format in the playoffs this next year. We're gonna get some badass football games, college football games. And that's actually if I make it through the training process, that's what I'll be working on is player participation in college. So I'll be watching a lot of college football. So I'll be primed and ready when it comes draft time next year, man. I'm going to have a lot of information on these guys.
All right. I'll have to up my game a little bit.
Yeah. I need to up my game from what you did this last year. So hopefully PFF is exactly what I'm going to do because you killed it this year, brother. So actually, speaking of that, a little shout out to you. Tuned in to the Illegal Ham to the Face show the other night, friends of ours, and some very nice words were said about us. So I want to give those guys a shout out. Jared Fetty Bates, appreciate you, man. And then Nick Carnes was on the show with him. Carnes gave us a shout out as well. So thanks, Carnes. We appreciate you guys, everything the Barking Browns do, everybody over there. So appreciate that. And just want to share some of the love back. You guys are awesome. And we love collaborating with you guys and working with you. So hopefully we'll do some more in the future. But
100%. This whole spectrum of sports podcasts and stuff like that, we shouldn't be competitors. This should be a family. We should be promoting each other. So absolutely love that. Thanks to you guys. We love working with you guys and collaborating and branching our viewerships together and things like that in order to just grow everybody.
Absolutely. But brother, you got anything else? Are we ready to get the fuck out of here?
Oh man, I think we're good to go. I'm about ready to hit the fucking gym, bro.
Hit the gym? I don't know that I'm hitting the gym today. We have a friend's party. She just graduated college. We're going to go over there and eat some food and drink some margaritas. But I'm right back on to diet train tomorrow. 10 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm pretty pumped with that progress. So I'm not going to let that go away. I'm going to keep it going. Also been doing a lot of cold plunging, which fucking blows, but is fantastic for you, by the way.
Absolutely.
But all right, guys. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. You can find us basically anywhere, man. You go to Facebook. We got a group. You can follow the page as well. TikTok, Instagram. And then if you go to NoSleevesNetwork.com, you can find all of the content underneath the No Sleeves umbrella. So that's this show, another show, a couple of video game podcasts. And then as soon as a buddy is no longer indisposed, I believe there's some additional content coming over in the form of some food reviews. So we'll actually need to make sure that we hook up Vanilla Gorilla and the guys from Illegal Ham because they like to do a lot of food stuff on their shows as well. But I got nothing else. Evo, give the people one last word.
Cream, baby. Cash rules everything around me.
Hell yeah. Guys, the Lineman Lounge, I'm Mike. That's Evo. We're getting the fuck out of here. See you.